You know those scenes in movies? The ones that do more than just make you jump? We're talking about the moments that are so shocking, so terrifying, that audiences have literally screamed out loud in theaters, fainted, or just walked right out. These aren't just jump scares. They are cinematic landmarks, burned into our brains for their raw power to make us feel something visceral. They're the scenes that changed the game, pushed boundaries, and left audiences breathless with a mix of terror and awe. Today, we're counting down our picks for the top 5 scenes that made us scream watching movies. We're going to break down the masterful direction, the psychological tricks, and the shocking twists that created some of the most infamous moments in film. From heart-stopping scares to pure psychological dread, these are the sequences that blew away expectations and left a mark on everyone who saw them. But first, a serious warning. Major spoilers are ahead. If you haven't seen these classics, you might want to tread carefully because we're about to spoil the moments that make them unforgettable. You've been warned. Number 5, Saving Private Ryan, 1998, The Omaha Beach Landing. Kicking off our list at number 5 is a scene that made people scream, not from ghosts or monsters, but from the horror of reality. Steven Spielberg's 1998 masterpiece, Saving Private Ryan, has no supernatural elements, but its opening 27 minutes are more terrifying than almost any horror film. The D-Day landing on Omaha Beach is a relentless and brutally realistic portrayal of the absolute chaos of war, and for many, it was just too much. The scene starts with a tense quiet. We're in the boats with Captain Miller, Tom Hanks, and his men. The sound is muffled, men are sick with fear, and you can feel every single one of them knows they're heading into hell. And then the ramp drops. Instantly, the quiet is shattered by the roar of German machine guns that tear through the soldiers before they even hit the water. What comes next is a symphony of pure carnage. Spielberg's direction is masterfully cruel. He refuses to let the audience look away. The shaky, handheld camera puts us right there on the beach, amid the chaos, the screams of dying men, and the water turning red. We see soldiers drown under their gear, medics killed while trying to save others, and men set on fire. There's a gut-wrenching moment where a soldier picks up his own severed arm, looking at it in shock before he dies. The impact was immediate and profound. Its realism was so powerful that World War II veterans reportedly had to walk out of theaters, overwhelmed by the traumatic memories it brought back. The U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs even set up a nationwide toll-free hotline to help veterans cope with the PTSD triggered by the film. One veteran said, "I was really happy the screen was there to block out the bullets," while another admitted the movie kept him up at night. They praised Spielberg for his honesty, saying he finally showed people what it was truly like. One vet even sent over 100 letters to friends, telling them to see the movie so they could finally understand. The screams in the theater weren't just from shock. They were screams of horror at the human cost of war, and screams of recognition from those who had lived it. It's a scene that goes beyond entertainment and becomes a historical document that ensures no one could glorify war again. Number 4, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974. The hook scene. From historical reality to terrifying fiction, our number 4 spot goes to a moment of such grimy, raw brutality that it basically launched the slasher genre. Tobe Hooper's 1974 nightmare, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is brilliant at creating non-stop dread, and no scene captures its power better than the infamous meat hook scene. The movie's grainy documentary style makes every moment feel disturbingly real, like you've found an actual snuff film. And that's what makes Pam's fate so horrifying. The setup is simple but brutally effective. After her boyfriend Kirk disappears inside a creepy farmhouse, Pam, played by Terry McMinn, cautiously follows him. The house feels wrong, like it's decaying from the inside. She wanders into a room filled with furniture made from bones and human remains, and the camera just stays on her face as the horror sinks in. Right at this moment of peak vulnerability, Leatherface lurches out from a steel doorway. There's no big musical cue, just the sick, wet crack of his hammer hitting her skull. She collapses, her body convulsing. But the real horror, the moment that made audiences gasp and physically recoil, is what he does next. Leatherface picks up her limp body and, like a butcher handling a slab of meat, hangs her on a meat hook. The camera doesn't cut away. We're forced to watch her hang there, twitching and screaming, while Leatherface goes back to his work, starting up his chainsaw to dismember her boyfriend just feet away. The sound is an assault. Her desperate cries, the buzz of the saw, and the squeal of pigs in the background create a full-blown panic attack. What makes this scene so traumatic is that it has no Hollywood polish. It's ugly, merciless, and feels dirty. Hooper presents violence in its most primal, terrifying form. The film's tagline famously told audiences, "To avoid fainting, keep repeating, it's only a movie. Only a movie." For people in 1974 who were not ready for this level of horror, that was tough to do. The hook scene isn't just a scare, it's a violation. It taps into our primal fear of being reduced to meat, and its raw power has made it one of the most disturbing moments in horror history. Number 3, Oldboy, 2003, The Final Reveal. Our next pick brings a scream that isn't about physical terror, but about a soul-crushing psychological shock. Park Chan-wook's 2003 masterpiece, Oldboy, is a brutal revenge thriller. But all its physical violence, even the legendary hallway hammer fight, is nothing compared to the emotional devastation of its final twist. The whole movie follows Oh Dae-soo as he hunts for the man who locked him in a room for 15 years. He meets a young sushi chef, Mi-do, who becomes his reason to live beyond revenge. She is his hope, and in the film's climax, that hope is systematically destroyed. After a long and bloody journey, Dae-soo finally confronts his tormentor, the wealthy Lee Woo-jin. Woo-jin then reveals the real revenge. Years ago, Dae-soo started a rumor that he saw Woo-jin in an incestuous relationship with his sister, which led to her suicide. Woo-jin's revenge wasn't just about the 15 years of imprisonment. It was about making Dae-soo feel that same shame. He gives Dae-soo a photo album of Mi-do's life. As Dae-soo flips through the pages, he watches her grow from a baby into the woman he loves. Then the final picture reveals the awful truth. Mi-do is his daughter. The woman he's fallen in love with is his own flesh and blood. The scream this causes is purely internal, the sound of a mind completely breaking. Choi Min-sik's performance as Oh Dae-soo is incredible as he collapses in grief and horror. The final gut punch comes when Woo-jin asks, "What's the real punishment?" "To know it all and live with it." Overwhelmed by guilt, Dae-soo gets on his knees, begs for Mi-do to never know the truth, and in a final horrific act of penance, cuts out his own tongue with a pair of scissors. The scene is a modern-day Greek tragedy, echoing the story of Oedipus. Audiences were left completely stunned and unsettled by the film's moral abyss. It's a scream born from a taboo so profound it feels like a wound on your soul. The final reveal in Oldboy isn't just a plot twist. It's an emotional demolition that leaves you wondering if some truths are too monstrous to live with. All right, we are deep in the darkness now, and before we get to our top 2 picks, the absolute titans of cinematic terror, we want to hear from you. The scenes we've talked about are legendary, but fear is personal. What movie scene made you scream? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this trip into cinematic madness, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Number 2, Psycho, 1960. The shower scene. There are movies before the shower scene, and there are movies after it. Coming in at number 2 is probably the most famous 45 seconds in film history. Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 game-changer, Psycho, didn't just scare people. It rewired their brains and broke all the rules of storytelling. In a move nobody had ever seen, Hitchcock kills his biggest star and main character, Marion Crane, Janet Leigh, before the movie is even halfway over. The shock of it was one thing, but how he did it created a cultural trauma that made a whole generation scared of taking a shower. The build-up is suspense at its finest. Marion, on the run after stealing a fortune, thinks she's found a safe place to hide at the empty Bates Motel. After a weird chat with the shy motel owner, Norman Bates, she decides to take a shower to wash away her guilt. The shower is supposed to be her baptism, a fresh start. As the water runs, the bathroom door opens, revealing a silhouetted figure with a knife. What happens next is a masterpiece of editing. Hitchcock used 78 different camera setups and 52 cuts for a scene that took a full week to shoot. The shrieking violins of Bernard Herrmann's score, which Hitchcock originally didn't even want for the scene, became the official sound of panic. Despite its bloody reputation, the scene is all about suggestion. Because of the strict censors at the time, the knife never actually touches skin. The violence is an illusion created by quick editing, Janet Leigh's terrified face, and some clever tricks. The blood was famously Hershey's chocolate syrup, which looked better on black and white film, and the sound of the knife-stabbing flesh was made by plunging a knife into a cassava melon. Audiences in 1960 had never seen anything like it. People screamed, fainted, and ran out of the theaters. Hitchcock even made a strict no-late admissions policy to protect the surprise. He made the audience connect with Marion, only to brutally murder her, leaving them feeling betrayed and vulnerable. The shower scene wasn't just a murder, it was the murder of cinematic innocence and the birth of the modern slasher film. Number 1. Alien, 1979. The chestburster scene. And now for the number 1 scene that made us scream watching movies. A moment so shocking, so grotesque, and so completely unexpected that it's been burned into the brain of anyone who's ever seen it. Ridley Scott's 1979 sci-fi horror masterpiece, Alien, is full of tension, but it's one dinner scene that lifts the film from a classic monster movie into an all-time legend of body horror. The chestburster scene is a perfect storm of surprise, incredible practical effects, and genuine unscripted terror from the cast. The setup is a brilliant trick. The crew of the Nostromo is gathered around the dinner table, finally able to relax. Kane, played by John Hurt, had an alien facehugger on him, but now it's gone, he feels fine, and the mood is light. The crew is laughing and joking. It feels like a moment of relief. Suddenly, Kane starts to cough. The crew thinks he's joking, but then he starts convulsing violently and collapses on the table in agony. The other actors thought he was having a seizure. They had read the script and knew something was coming, but Ridley Scott deliberately kept the specifics of the scene a secret from them. What happened next is movie history. A small, bloody creature erupts from Kane's chest, shrieks, and scurries off into the ship. The cast's reactions are 100% real. The screams, the shock, the disgust. It was all genuine. Actress Veronica Cartwright was hit in the face with a spray of stage blood and was so stunned she actually fell backwards over part of the set. The set was covered in plastic, and the smell of formaldehyde from the real animal parts used for gore filled the air. Audiences were totally unprepared, with reports of people running out of test screenings, and some even getting sick in the lobby. The scene was a violation of the human body, tapping into deep fears of parasitism and penetration. It was so well done that even the legendary director Stanley Kubrick called Ridley Scott to ask how he did it. The chestburster scene is more than a jump scare. It's pure cinematic trauma. It's the gold standard of shock, a perfectly executed nightmare that's just as horrifying today. From the bloody beaches of World War II to the darkest corners of space, these 5 scenes are the peak of cinematic shock. They are brilliant pieces of filmmaking designed to tap into our deepest fears and trigger our most primal reaction, the scream. They're moments of raw terror, unbearable reality, psychological collapse, and rule-breaking horror. They prove that a great scene doesn't just entertain you, it hits you on a physical and emotional level, and it stays with you long after the credits roll. These filmmakers didn't just want to scare us, they wanted to scare us, and by all accounts, they absolutely succeeded. But the world of movies is huge and filled with terrors we haven't even mentioned. Did we miss one of your favorites? Was there a scene that made you scream louder than these? Maybe the head-spinning scene from The Exorcist or the birthday party video in Signs? Let us know your personal scariest movie moments in the comments below. We read every single one. If you enjoyed this journey into the heart of fear, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the movies that haunt our nightmares. Until next time, try not to think about what's lurking in the shower or what that little tickle in your chest might be. Sleep tight.